Good morning. Let us take a look at the end of the Soviet Union and the specific events that led up to the end of one of the global superpowers of the last half of the 20th century. Gorbachev's policies of glasnost and perestroika, although well-intentioned to help develop the Soviet Union, led to greater problems for the Soviet Union. As the Communist Party allowed greater freedoms and openness of ideas, people began to protest against the many restrictions that were still in place. The Soviet Union allowed each communist nation under its influence to handle its own protesters. As a result, communism ended in many nations, such as Germany when the Berlin Wall collapsed, and Poland with the labor movement of solidarity. The Soviet Union also faced internal protests and tensions as a result of perestroika and glasnost. The Soviet Union consisted of 15 republics that had diverse populations. 3 of these republics were the Baltic states of Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. These states were independent between World War I and World War II, but were annexed by the Soviet Union in 1940. In March of 1990, Lithuania made its move and declared independence. Gorbachev did not want to see the breakup of the Soviet Union and declared an economic blockade of the nation to prevent trade and force Lithuania to give up its resistance. However, Lithuania did not give up its independence, and Gorbachev sent in troops to force the issue. In January 1991, Soviet troops entered Lithuania and killed 14 protesting civilians while harming hundreds more. Russians were not happy with the treatment of Lithuania and were frustrated with the slow economic progress being made in the Soviet Union. Boris Yeltsin, considered a rival to Gorbachev, felt that reforms needed to be made more quickly, and people turned to him for leadership. In June 1991, the people of Russia made Yeltsin the first directly elected president. However, please note, Gorbachev is still the president of the Soviet Union, in which Russia was one of the republics. Although Yeltsin and Gorbachev were political rivals, they were both supported reforms within the Soviet Union. However, some hardline conservative communists in the Soviet Union felt that reforms were hurting the nation and had to be stopped. On August 18, 1991, hardline communists detained Gorbachev at his vacation home on the Baltic Sea and demanded his resignation as the president of the Soviet Union. Then, on August 19th, tanks rolled into Moscow to take control of the Russian government. However, protesters opposed the tanks and a standoff ensued. At midday, Yeltsin came out and stood on a tank declaring, quote, "We proclaim all decisions and decrees of this committee to be illegal. We appeal to the citizens of Russia to demand a return of the country to normal constitutional developments." End quote. The next day, the hardliners ordered the tanks to fire on the crowd, but the soldiers refused, and on August 21st, the tanks withdrew and Gorbachev was allowed to return to Moscow. The August coup angered many people and republics of the Soviet Union, leading to the acceleration of the breakup of the Soviet Union. Estonia and Latvia quickly declared their independence. Even though Gorbachev pleaded for unity, the rest of the republics soon followed and declared their independence. On December 25, 1991, Gorbachev resigned as president of the Soviet Union, a nation that no longer existed. From this map, we can see the extent of the breakup. While the main republic of the Soviet Union, Russia, still remained intact, it had lost the support of many of its main members of the Soviet Union, such as Ukraine, who will have future conflict with Russia in the years to come.